Hi, everyone, and welcome to our patch chat. Today is oh my God, September 18th. Dang, where did the summer go, right? And I am Marty, if we haven't met, and my other lovely co-host is Miss Jen Jordan, who happens to be a nurse. And today we are talking about the amazing LifeWave patches. If you're new to the patches, great. We're going to do a little quick overview, then we're going to talk some experiences. And if you have anything you want to share, your experiences, or any questions, we will have time at the end for that. So, um, there we go. Someone else is just joining us. Welcome. So Jen, do you want to go ahead and just get us started?
Yeah, absolutely. So just would like to say that to be compliant with life wave policies that we need to let you know if you have questions today and you're asking about specific diseases that we cannot discuss diseases because we do not claim to treat or cure any diseases with these patches. However, we can talk about certain body systems, right? So if there's a certain disease that affects the nervous system or the cardiovascular system, we certainly can talk about how X39 will support those systems in the body. And also, if you have any significant medical questions, we're going to shoot you right back to your primary care physicians that probably none of you have, but that's okay. That's what.
Yeah, we can always talk structure function, guys, and like what body parts are affected by whatever you're dealing with. So we're going to approach it from that perspective, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So we just have to make that disclaimer to protect the company. And do we want to just go ahead and talk about the X39 patch, which is the flagship patch?
Let's do it.
All
Yes.
right, awesome. So this company, the LifeWave company, has been around for over 20 years now. And the original patches that were developed by the CEO and inventor David Schmidt were called LifeWave patches, or excuse me, were called energy enhancer patches, which we still have accessible to us. There we go. Yeah, I like to wear them in that spot too. And the reason he was commissioned by the government was because they needed an alternative for the Navy SEALs to not have to have them on high doses of caffeine and literally amphetamines. So they were putting them on drugs in order to keep them up for their multiple day missions. So he was brought, he being David Schmidt, on board to develop this technology that would give them the energy that they needed as an alternative to those things. So that is why we love the energy enhancers. And I keep them around as needed because you burn about an extra 600 calories a day when you use them because they're very efficient and they use fat for fuel over using blood sugar for fuel. So anyway, I know we're talking about X39, but I wanted to tell you how the company started. So fast forward to 2018, X39 became one of the patches in the lineup. This company makes 11 patches, one of them for horses and the other 10 for humans, but we can use them on the animals too. What this does is when we wear this patch, we place it on our body. We're going to wear this for 12 hours a day. So say someone gets up at 8 o'clock in the morning, they're going to place it on their body at 8. They're going to take it off at 8 p.m. ish. Okay. So when this is placed on the body, the crystalline amino acid structures that are in here in this white part in the middle, it looks like a spot band-aid, reflect our body's own infrared light. So we emit light. We're light beings. That's how we can be seen at night with night vision goggles. And so when our light hits this, it refracts back into our body, tells our body to make a certain peptide, which happens to be a BGHKCU copper peptide. Well, what that does when we elevate these levels of copper peptides in our body knows to start making stem cells. So what this does is tells our body to increase stem cell production, which is very, very important because as we age, our stem cell production goes down. And Marty will have a slide for you here at some point to show you that progression. And we need stem cells because they are our master cells. They tell our body How do we, and when we were growing in utero, it's how the body knew to make a head, to make some arms, make some legs, is because it's all from stem cells. So it's pretty cool. So at 20 years old, we have 1 billion healthy stem cells. Aren't we all rocking it at 20 years old? Like we don't break, we bounce, and we can do anything. And then we move up to, let's go fast forward to 30 years at 50, and we've declined by 75%. Okay, that's the over the hill. People say, that as we get older, we have more conditions such as stiff joints and don't sleep as well. And, we injure ourselves easily. Well, that's because we don't have the stem cells anymore there to replace the wounded, tissue with the healthy tissue. So that's basically in a nutshell how X39 works. Anything else on that, Marty? Oh,
No,
oh
we,
wait, I do have a PS. How could I have forgotten this? It's like my favorite topic.
oh yeah.
The other amazing thing, this does do a lot of things other than stimulate stem cell production. One of the other major things it does is it stimulates the production of collagen in our body. Collagen is the scaffolding for our entire body, everything, teeth, eyes, gut, bones, muscle, joints, everything is collagen based. I just finished having a chat with a client of mine who's 93, frustrated with having, a stenosis issue, arthritic stenosis. And and is explaining to her it's because she's had breakdown of collagen. She's getting impatient with the patch usage because it's not building fast enough for her, but she's 93. So we have to build up more stem cells than we would if she was 60. So yeah, we need to talk about the collagen. So I'm happy I remembered that.
Okay. So let's discuss a little bit. Well, I'll just say it. How do you use these patches? Uh, X39 and most of the patches are daily use patches. And 12 hours on, 12 hours off, like Jen was saying, if you accidentally leave it on a little bit longer, it's not a big deal. Take it off and skip a day. And most people start with the X39. Jen, is that what you advise people when you're
Yes.
first introducing the patches to them? And I know we're going to talk about expectations too, but the main thing is getting people using the X39. And again, for every decade of age, they need to plan on at least a month of usage because it takes time for your body to get things re-going, rebuilt, right? You didn't get to the condition you're in, overnight, unless you've had a horrible accident or something. But it's a progressive thing. And the same way with turning the stem cells back on as they get activated, you're going to start noticing things. Maybe you might be taking it or using the patches for, let's say you have some digestive issues, but hey, you're noticing some things with your brain that are turning back on. Jen, you want to talk about that a little bit, or what do you want to share on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to go back for the reference on usage of length of time, that referencing you said for every decade of age we are, that they recommend using it for at least a month of that. So for example, when I started these patches 2 years ago and I was 53. And so I was only going to try it. I'm like, all right, I'll try it for 5 months, which now I look back and think, that wouldn't, all the miracles that I've happened around the 18th month to 2 years, the miracles. Now, the nice things, like having more energy, sleeping better, higher cognitive function, better skin, all that stuff came way before that. But the biggies, the big miracles came after the 18-month mark. So if I had stopped using them at 5 months, I wouldn't have seen the things that I've seen. And I will never be going off X39 and likely Eon. So to answer your question about, do I start most people with just X39? It's definitely always a foundation patch, no matter what. So those of you that are out there that are wanting to learn more about how to talk about the patches with people or for your own knowledge, X39, always, 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 because that one does cover so many body systems. Okay. And then the Aeon is a master anti-inflammatory, and the Aeon is also anti-neoplastic. So what does that mean? Well, it helps the body usher out the cells that might be at high risk of becoming C cells, bad cells. And so I'd like those two together. But see, the clients that I work with them, the gravity of their health is usually very high. So I'm not just starting people on X39 or Eon. You know, I can go in there and know that they need glutathione, right? Which is something that helps the body detox. And I can go in and see what specific organs are suffering, and I can choose certain patches for that. X39 will cover that, but these people are usually in pretty bad shape, but we need to get better sooner. However, if I have someone that comes to me, I'm curious about these, I feel pretty good just having a couple aches and pains, and I wish I slept better, and I'm kind of not remembering things as well anymore. That person, absolutely, we can smack an X, slap an X39 on that person and have that be the only patch for that person. So there's less to overcome. Does that make sense? So that's always my foundation patch. Always, always.
Yeah, and that's why David Schmidt, founder of LifeWave, always starts with the X39, and the other ones are supplemental. So X39 and X49 both affect stem cells. 39 turns on GHKCU, copper peptide, and X49 turns on the, which one, Jen? AHKCU.
The sister one, the HKU peptide. So it stimulates, it's still stimulating stem cells, just on a more specific level, if that makes sense.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, once you start noticing things, it's a lot, I don't want to say a lot easier, but people may even notice things about you and say, hey, I know you were dealing with this illness, or you seem a lot better, you have more energy, you look younger. And that's another thing I always recommend to people when I'm first getting them started with the patches, take a selfie of your face and just put it away. It doesn't have to be pretty or anything, but over time, you're going to definitely notice some changes. So, um, another thing, and I think Jen, we're going to go a little deeper into some of the expectations. Your body's going to prioritize what needs to get fixed. Like I said, you might want it for one thing, but your body's like, no, no, you need work on your liver or your pancreas or whatever it is. So that's where patience comes in, and just let your body do the healing. That's what does the healing, is your body. The patches turn on specific peptides and stimulate certain cells in a specific way through, certain frequencies, right? And it gets things activated. The only ones that don't are Ice Wave does not, because Ice Wave actually blocks pain sensors, so you get some relief from the pain while your body's healing with the X39, etc. And also, it's not just patches. When you're using patches, you have to make sure you are staying hydrated, and that also includes maybe a pinch of sea salt. So the hydration actually gets in at a cellular level, or some other electrolytes. That's super important because your body is turning things on and releasing some things that maybe you've had some toxins for a while or something, right? So just be aware as things are changing, you need to be gentle with yourself, but diligent with it. Right, Jen? You want to add something?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a really, you guys that are out there that are either on the fence about trying this or are trying to help other people by educating them around it, it's frustrating because we live in a one and done society. So we've grown up in the Advil era. So, we have a headache, we take an Advil, and it's, for most people, it's gone in 20 to 30 minutes. Oh, boom, it works. So what worked? The Advil worked. Okay. So when we ultimately, that was our body's response to the Advil, but so it's important to have people understand it's not the patch, it's your body. So when we're asking people be patient, frame it in a way that what we're asking people to do is be patient with the rate that their body heals. This is really important because we're going to pull that away from the patch. It's not the patch not working, it's your body taking longer to heal, and you're not happy with that rate. But I want to tell you, there's so much going on that you cannot see going on in your body. You don't even know what's happening there. Raise your hand if you know exactly what's going on in your mitochondria right now, which is the powerhouse of your cell. Go ahead, raise your hand, because you don't, but the body does. And so when people say, "Oh, the patch just doesn't seem to be working," it's not working fast enough. Your body isn't working fast enough, right? I don't want to say that either, but you guys get the gist. So it's not the patch, it's your body. So
And
if someone
yeah,
decided I'm going to be on this for 6 months and they get to the end of their 6 months and they're like, how come I don't look 15 years younger and I'm not a runway supermodel now? Like, what's happening here? This isn't working for me. It's because it's taking that long for the cells to rebuild. Okay. We don't know how, dilapidated a home is. It can look really pretty on the outside, but you put it for sale, you call your inspector and you're like, oh my God, there's dry rot in all the walls. Okay. So you don't know that. It's maybe a weird analogy. We don't really have dry rot in our body, but
no, I think that's good. And here's another thing, setting expectations up front, especially if people are dealing with something really challenging like a diagnosis of a chronic situation, that expectation is going to be 12 to 18 months minimum. Okay.
minimum.
There are some people, and we can tie you into plenty of experiences on YouTube. Dr. Stacy has a channel, and she has trainings every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. where she is talking strictly patches and experiences, many times with other practitioners. That includes doctors, nurses, people in the medical field that have seen very good results. So, and again, of course, the technology is patented. David Schmidt did an excellent job with covering all the bases with his stuff. He's in a ton of research, especially on the X39. He studied stem cells for like 10 years. He's put a lot of time into this to figure out a way for your body, not to have an external source of stimulating your stem cells, but to have your body do it by reflecting back certain things that already exist in your body. So, I mean, that's actually the technology is amazing. There is nothing else like it out there. So, you may see other things that say, oh, we have stem cell patches. What that's doing is applying it topically because our patches are non transdermal, nothing goes into your system. Okay, it's a completely different technology. Um, and even with stem cell injections, those of you who may know someone who's had that done or had it done yourself, that's a completely different thing, right? When you're injecting someone else's DNA into your body, you're dealing with needles, pain, potentially rejection, and all kinds of other things that can happen, side effects and stuff. Plus, it doesn't last that long and it's super expensive. So, that's kind of the spiel on X39. Did I leave anything out, Jen, or did you anything else you want to say?
Well, I can briefly go over what to expect from the patch on what's going on internally, and you can explain this to people or it helps you understand. But again, when you're talking to people about this, just say, we don't know how long it will take your body to respond to the patch. Okay. And you can get people away from that mindset that the patch isn't working out. Okay. So I really wanted to drive that home before I tell you what's going on the inside is within the first few days of someone slapping this patch on, about 4,000 genes in the body upregulate, they reset. Okay. Our genes are, we can alter the genes. You hear people say, oh, it's a genetic thing, I'm just stuck with it. That's not true. Only 1% of our genes are and we can't influence that. So like, if you're like, I wish my eyes were a different color, like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do anything for you on that one. Your eyes are going to just always be blue, or they're always going to be brown, or whatever it is, but these other genes, yeah, we can change, we can influence, right? So these genes 4,000 genes are getting influenced, upregulated for a positive way. Okay, so and then within 6 weeks, the stem cells we're talking about really start to be created in higher volumes. They're building, they're building, they're building. And then over time, this is why we don't know how long it's going to take. We have a minimum of 30 trillion cells in our body. So when those cells die, we have the new cells that are coming in that are being made, these healthier ones, and they're replacing those. How long is that going to take for that person? We don't know, but we do know within 6 weeks that those are really starting to build up. It's 4 to 6 weeks. And then by the 6 week mark, also, that's when we start to notice more of the brain balancing. You start to remember things more quickly. You're less foggy. You might not have known you had brain fog until you didn't have it. That was my situation. You start having less afternoon slumps. Okay. Can start sleeping better unless you have a very serious issue imbalance in the brain that's impacting your sleep. Okay. And then the 3 month mark is when we start building a lot more collagen, like I talked about. Okay, so that's just the beginning. Is the 3 months we start making collagen stars. It's continuing. It's building, building, building. For those out there with pain in their joints and they're older, those are the ones that are getting frustrated right now. But there's a lot more to rebuild at that point. Okay, and then at 6 months is when we start to see improvements on the inside with cardiovascular health. Okay, for every 6 weeks of use, I'm not sure if I have that backwards. Hold on. I'm wanting to get that
No, you're right.
statistic.
For every
Is
six
that,
weeks.
yeah. So basically, yeah. So for every 6 weeks, my brain wanted to switch them around. So for every 6 weeks of use, the cardiovascular system reverses in age by 8 weeks. It reverses in age. So it took me about 18 months or so, 18 to 20-ish months to reverse a heart arrhythmia. I developed atrial fibrillation after I had COVID. And it took about 18 to 20 months to reverse that. Why? Because I needed to reverse my heart back to the age, right? To a healthier, younger state, to a place before I ever even had that heart condition. So which is gone because of the patches. And then, within about 12 months is when you will start to see something. I promise you, someone's going to say, oh, your skin looks different. Your hair looks different. And that's when, I like to say when you get to that 12 months is really, now you've really built your foundation. Okay. You were really strengthen it. Now let's go ahead and start putting the walls up on the side, things like that. Okay. I have found that if you have someone on the fence who's on the patches and they're not sure, just starting them with an X39 is an excellent way to go because it's not a huge, huge investment. Okay. And the less the investment in the beginning, I find people tend to want to stay with it longer and give it more of a chance, right? Versus people that have come in and started with multiple patches. Now, yes, I will put people on multiple patches with the idea of weaning them off, but those are only my people that I've scanned and I know what they need. But again, so if you have people out there that are curious, they want to try it, put them on 3 months of X39. They're gonna notice something, especially if you stay in close contact with them and you're guiding them through, because they'll forget they were tired. They'll forget their left elbow hurt. Okay, so it's important to do the health tracker too, Marty. So maybe at some point we can get everybody that health tracker.
Yes, absolutely. And I like that you said that. So for me, what I noticed, so some of the key milestones for me, I noticed within 4 or 5 days, it's like I was more aware of color in things. And I've heard other people say that too. It's like their brain kind of switches on in a different gear. Brain fog lifted, yes. Um, 6 to 8 weeks is another milestone. You're like, oh, this used to bother me, but now it's not so bad, right? 3 months, 3 to 4 months was another one, 6 months, and then right around 9 months again. And then, of course, 12 months. So it almost seems like every 90 days, initially there's little chunks, but you're going to start noticing things. And for me, I started using these because I deal with anxiety for one, and it was waking me up in the middle of the night with my heart pounding and racing. And if anybody's ever experienced that, super not fun and it's scary. Also, hormone imbalance. I was talking with Jen Pagan this morning at the shop that I noticed some hormone changes. And that was about, I think, I want to say 6 months in rebalancing. So if you're experiencing something where one of your, hormones is kind of out of whack, you'll start noticing some positive changes as things start balancing out for sure. I want to talk, so I guess we can move into experiences now, right, Jen? Is that okay? If there's any
Yeah,
questions,
absolutely. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, I just encourage you to unmute and ask them. It's better that way, I think. been chasing down the chat. Is that okay with you, Marty?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Or raise your hand or whatever. I'm going to share my husband's experience because I think it's pretty profound. Most of you have probably heard it, but he had kidney stone removal surgery, got injured from that, where it actually hurt his back, and his urologist was not aware that he had blood sugar issues, put him on a steroid, prednisone, and he had a super bad reaction that almost killed him. And it left him very weak. He was out of work for 3 months. And what else? Oh, urinary issues. He wasn't incontinent, but had problems controlling, um, urgency type problems. And that went on for 2 years. And we had tried everything. And I mean, because I work with essential oils and other good supplements and was familiar with, I would do the research and look things up. Nothing was really quite helping him. And he's a younger guy, he's a contractor. So imagine that, he's in other people's houses and stuff. So it was just not a great scenario. Plus, it causes a lot of stress and anxiety with that. Got him on the patches. And after about 3 to 4 months, he started noticing, things are getting better. It was probably about a 50%, 60% improvement. And then we started a year ago in August. So I've only been on patches 13 months almost now. And about 11 months in, I was talking to him about something and I said, "Oh, do we need to stop and go hit a bathroom?" He's like, "No, I don't have that problem anymore." So that was 11 months in, and that's huge. If imagine if that was your situation where you're having to wear, pads or whatever. And yeah, even if that was the only benefit we got from the patches, it would be totally worth it to me and to him. That was huge, right? Also, now we're working on his blood sugar. So he's been using, so we use actually a lot of the patches pretty much every day. Some days we'll be like, no, I just want X39 on, and that's fine. Okay. Um, Go by how you're feeling, pay attention to your body, or if you know how to muscle test, you can do that too. I pretty much do that every day. Do I need this today? Yes, no. And especially the glutathione, the what's the other one? Carnosine and Eon, right? If you're not dealing with pain and inflammation, you can rotate those, they say, right? Or SP6. I'm sorry. That's the hormone balancing one. And some people do that. They'll only use it, those three, SP6, carnosine, and glutathione, like every third day. So just listen to your body, do what makes sense for you, right? And as you notice changes, and like what Jen said, and we get people asking us, "Oh, do I have to be on all these patches for the rest of my life?" No, you don't. Once you start getting things back on track and your body is healing, you know, it's like maintenance, right? And X39 and Eon together, probably same with me. I don't know that I will ever not have those on me. And, why not? And it's also, I want to talk a little bit about Alavita, getting back to my husband's story. So we had been doing probably 5 or 6 patches a day, just in general, just getting the healing going, right? But had never really paid attention to Alavita. And his blood sugar was not being managed well. He had been on metformin, for a while, but that didn't do anything for him. Um, and he wasn't really consistent with what he was doing, not paying attention to, here's the other part of it: meaningful exercise, meaningful movement so your body can move the fluid, the lymphatic fluid, clean stuff out, food, good, clean food, water sufficiently. Um, and that it all plays into part of this. But I made a connection between Alavita. What Alavita does, it stimulates and I don't have it, beta. Anyway, I can't remember what it is. I don't have my book in
It
front of me.
stimulates epitalin. So that's
Ellen,
what
thank you.
Alavita does, which increases the length of our telomeres, but also supports the pancreas, which is the research that you dug up, which I didn't even know that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I kind of stumbled across it in a different book on a study that was done with pancreas support, and how this woman had like 40 of her patients. She had them on synthetic, what is it? Epitalon.
Epitalin. Epitalin.
and got some really good results. So I made the connection between that and Alavita, and this was on July 3rd. And I told Fred, we're going to just start doing this. So we double patch him with Alavita at night. And again, I muscle test on that. And we saw his numbers just consistently drop, 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 blood sugar. He's also taking ALA, and that was a suggestion from David Schmidt. He said if you take 300 milligrams of ALA, which is alpha lipoic acid, 3 times a day, we're doing that and berberine. And consistently with the Alavita patches, along with the other stuff, his blood sugar now is down to almost like normal. And I'm not joking. When we started, it was like around 400, which is not good. So, and that's only been since July where I made that connection. And so that's kind of the beauty of the patches too. The longer you use them, you're going to learn more ways to use them for different things, and you're going to hear stories and experiences and put them to use. Give it a try, and just kind of document. That's another thing that I think is really important. Document what's going on in your body. Just take some little notes. With blood sugar, obviously you can test and just keep a note on that. I have a list that I keep in my calendar of that for him that I can share with other people and say, this is what we've seen. So there, okay, I'm done talking now. Is there anybody else that would like to share something? Julie?
No, I was just gonna say that's amazing because last time I talked to you with Fred, I think you said his numbers were like almost 400, and then they had dropped almost a half, and now they're normal.
Yeah, so he got down to so we're in the process of selling our house, so there's been a lot of stress. And here's a key thing. You got to be consistent with what you're doing, guys, with the patches, and if you're doing supplements or whatever, consistency. He got it down to like 144. I didn't even tell Jen that
Wow.
one time, and he's just like, dang. And so, everybody's different. I know what medical doctors say as where they want to see it. But as you get older, I've also heard other doctors say, well, there's a little bit of a range there. So our goal is to keep him between 125 and 150 consistently, but when he got down that low, we were just like, you know, party on, man. That's great. So it
Yeah,
can happen.
that's awesome. Um,
Thank you.
Very good. All right, that's all I
So
wanted to say.
wait, Julie, I want to ask you, how are you doing with your patches? You were sharing some stuff with me. Why don't you share what's going on with you?
So I've been having some breathing issues, and so I've been patching. I was trying to just think about it, like when I actually started consistently patching. I think it was sometime in July.
Mhm.
Um, but like the end of July. So I think it's been around 2 months or so. And anyway, so I've noticed heart palpitations seem to be a lot less. I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, gosh, I don't think I've had those heart palpitations as much um, that I was noticing. And so, yeah, I'm just still continuing on. But like I said, I mean, I've been dealing with this. This has been an issue for a couple years or 3 years now, I think, maybe even 4 years. Ever since I had COVID, I noticed the breathing became an issue. I don't know if it was that or if some other things that I've talked to Jen about. But I'm just hoping that whatever issues are there, that the patches will help. And I think it's something because it's been so long. It's going to take longer than just the 2 months, maybe even 3 months. When I muscle tested it, it definitely sounded like it was going to be a time frame that was going to be longer than that. So just still waiting, and I'm seeing some changes myself, and I've had a lot of stress lately. So even with the stress, I feel like things like the palpitations and everything weren't even there. So I'm happy so far.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
experience. Appreciate it. And so I will just say this because Julie's had the patches for a while, and but she wasn't super consistent until we had some kind of conversation or we saw something, and she's like, I'm doing it. And
I think
once
it
she
was
got,
Fred. I think
oh,
it
was
was
it
maybe.
Fred's experience? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you started being super consistent, you talked to me like a week or two later and was like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to notice things. So that's the key, guys. And if you're sharing this with other people, yeah, do you need to wear them every day? Yeah. X39, yes. It's a daily thing, and I've had people say, well, I don't want to be stuck on whatever. Well, you know what? You eat 2 or 3 times a day, every day, your body needs it. And if you're healing or in the process of helping your body to heal, you got to be consistent. Jen, anything you want to share on that?
Yeah, consistency is key. And again, it's always my thing. You can't complain of eye pain and keep poking yourself in the eyeball with an ice pick. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so you need to support your body. You need to support your body's process by eating good foods. Okay, so foods that are wholesome. If you have if you have had allergy testing done and you know that you should be avoiding certain foods, dairy, wheat, gluten, things like that, because they are increasing the level of inflammation in your body, and you're on the patches and you're still eating these foods and you're not getting better, that is not the patch. And I have issues with that. But I will get all fired up about food. So the thing is, it's basic, right? So we want to just keep the inflammatory foods out. We want to eat whole foods, organic. Watch for the seed oils. If you don't know what seed oils are, contact Marty and I. And these are important things you need to be, thinking about for yourself, thinking about for people that you're supporting on the patches. Have them do a food diary and then go over it with them. It's pretty obvious. Anyone that's worked with me knows what trigger foods are. So, go over those things. Send someone the seed oil documentary that I've shared. So that's, yes, I will add that. The patches are not going to be Superman and rescue you. They're going to be there to help your body heal, but you have to support the patches as well with lifestyle choices. You already talked about exercise, right? Exercise and food.
Yeah, meaningful movement,
Mindset.
whatever your age is or physical ability, movement is key. Jen Pagan, do you want to add something? Share
Did
something?
you see me muting and unmuting myself?
I did. So I'm like, okay, she has something to say. All right, girl, go
I
ahead.
just, I have a big story. As you know, there's a few people on here that know my story, but I'm going to try to keep it really short. And Jen, if I mess up my wording, please correct me, because I'm working with Jen. My story is I've basically been unhealthy my whole life from childhood until now, and I just turned 50 this year. So my most recent issues have been migratory, chronic, pins and needles, hot, burny, heavy pain migrating all over my whole body. I learned about patches last December, I guess. I went to a couple of clinics that they had, and I got patched, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that helped with my pain a little bit. But then when the patch was gone, it was gone. And then I met Jen Jordan. Uh-oh, not gonna cry. Okay. So I learned through working with Jen and her amazing technology that my pain is because I have high saturation of mercury poisoning. Is that a good way to say it, Jen? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring this up because we talked about how everybody's story is different because everybody's problems are different and they're going to take longer. So I have a lot of issues, but the mercury is the number one issue. And I've been on the X39 patch, the Eon patch, and kind of intermittently the glutathione because my body's really sensitive to it. For, well, since mid-June. So for 3 months. And my biggest improvement is that mercury and the inflammation from that mercury are down 40% in 3 months.
Wow.
Which is amazing. But it also is a testament to show how it just takes time. Whatever your issue is, your body just needs to do the work, and it's going to take everybody's that body's amount of time for the work. But for me to be 40% better in 3 months with these patches, amen. It's amazing.
That's great.
Thanks for sharing, Jen.
Thank you. And how are you feeling, Jen? Have you noticed a difference in how you're feeling from all that?
Yeah, overall, yes. I mean, I'm still dealing with my pain currently is head pain, which is terrible, but we're learning how through muscle testing and my scan and how to like right now the head pain is we're peeling back the layers, and while the mercury is kind of sloughing off, new other things are revealing and peeling back that onion, but that's also giving us the opportunity of how to tackle those other things as well. So yes, I do feel better. My recall, my brain fog is improved. Like I can't say percentage wise, but my family notices. My family notices my attitude is better. My emotions are more, not, I don't want to say in check, but like I'm just more here. I'm more, I seem more stable. I seem not so freaked out and stressed out about everything. And everyone in my family, in my home, has noticed and told me that they've noticed the changes in me.
Wow.
So this is not a joke, you guys. I'm gonna have such a story to tell when I don't think I'll ever be at the end of my journey, but if I'm this improved in this short amount of time, I just can't wait to see how much better I get.
Hmm.
That's
Wow. Thank you.
amazing. And I think, Jen, the word you're looking for is regulated, right? Our emotions are regulated. I know you just think you said
Yeah,
control. They're just
yeah,
even and moving forward with no
yeah,
hitches. It's just you're
yeah,
taking life as coming, right?
yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Sorry,
great.
I'm a crier.
Oh, honey, thank you so much for sharing that. And I just want to say real quick, because I do energy work with emotion code and body code type things. And in
Mhm.
studying for that, our body is designed to experience different emotions from different
Mhm.
life events we experience, process it, and then release it so we can continue on with life, right?
Right.
When things are imbalanced and things get stuck and stuck energies get in there and icky feelings, and I mean, I'm not being technical, but that's a thing. And I've noticed
Mhm.
that for myself too, because, for years I took Xanax and whatever, just trying to feel normal and not let the anxiety take over. And I am so happy because with the X39 and the Eon together, because Eon is the happy patch. And I've noticed my moods are way more just balanced, right? I
Mhm.
don't react as much. Or
Mhm. And
it's
that's a
not,
testament to how, like, I'm not even doing anything. I'm just putting a patch on my skin, and it's just happening on the inside where you can't see it.
mhm.
Yeah.
And I think what's huge is when other people notice, because sometimes we don't notice. We're just like, going about our day or whatever. But when other people notice the changes, that to
Yeah.
me is like, there it is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
well, thank you so much. Anyone else
Yeah.
have anything for the good of the order that they want to share with us or any questions? If not, I'm going to stop the recording here and this will be available for people to share. So I know we had some other people that were planning on joining us and couldn't make it, but that's okay. We can share the video with them. So I'm going to go ahead and
Can
stop
I
it
share
now.
something first, Marty?
Oh,
Before I wanted to speak to
yes.
something that Jen was saying, or that you were just saying, actually. Something I've noticed, because of course, I mean, 6 months from now, I'm going to have more to share about the patches. A year from now, I'm going to have more to share about the patches, with me personally, or just, observing people who've been on them for a while. And speaking to what you were saying, I find that it's just this insane level of happiness that I see in people that are on the patches and that I'm moving into now. It's just, you just wake up happy and
Mhm.
then stuff happens, but you're just happy. And people say, "Oh, that seems like a rough day." I'm like, but and so I'm this is a new place I'm moving into now. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I've been able to experience a wonderful nervous system regulation. It's just incredible. And but then you're just like, okay, I'm regulated, but now I'm just stinking happy all the time. You might get people getting grumpy at you for being so happy, but that's just another phase that I'm moving into that I noticed. So I don't know. Just wanted
Yeah,
to throw.
no, thank you for sharing that. Same with me. For me, it happened right around 6 to 7 months where I just noticed I wake up happy, and that never used to happen for me. Because usually I wake up first thing is like, oh, great, what do I have to do today? And just kind of not looking forward to the day. And I catch myself walking around sometimes just like singing a little song or, oh, I don't whistle, but, just something like, oh, wow, this is really cool. Complete change in attitude. And I was pretty positive before, but boy, waking up happy is pretty cool. Just saying.
It
So,
is very cool.
all right. So thank you, Jen. We'll go ahead and stop it here.